Hello everybody, welcome to ReMIXed. I am David Sanchez, here co-hosting along with Junior Ruiz. Thank you for being here.
I fixed my tie.
Yeah.
That's a formal affair.
You're spiffy, man. I feel really dressed down.
You know, do what I gotta do.
Impressive.
I tried.
Sorry, impressive.
I tried.
That's all I have to say.
Alright.
Yeah.
Very busy week. Very busy weekend. We're still getting over it. You know, it doesn't even feel like it was a week ago now.
Coming down from the Chicago Con High. It was a great weekend.
It was a World Chicago Comic Con was this past weekend. Yep, but we'll get to that in 16-2.
Yep.
16-1. The news, of course, breaking the fourth wall. And you know what sucks? What I noticed, man.
What's up?
Whenever someone passes away in the industry, it's always the first thing we start the news segment with.
Yeah, man. What's up with that? Stop dying so frequently.
Well, that this is like you don't want to end the news segment with the death, you know, because it's like it's. In closing, you know, somebody died. We'll see you next time, you know?
Yeah. Well, respectfully, though, this one deserves a lot more credit than we're about to give them. The late, great Joe Kubert passed away over the weekend. And I think, well, to add to what you started off with, what made it even sadder was that because of the con, you didn't see like as many posts of Joe Kubert. You know, like usually every person's like R.I.P. Joe Kubert.
Yeah, you know what? I saw it Sunday evening.
Sergeant Rock. Yeah, I saw it
Sunday evening. Yeah. Well, it's like a couple years back when Michael Turner passed away. We found out at the con.
Oh, that was sad. We were at the Image 7 panel.
Yeah, and they were like, before we start, Michael Turner passed away. We're like,
yeah, it was Mark Silvestri that announced it.
Yeah,
and
it makes sense for him to do it because Turner was his protege.
Yeah,
you know.
So sad stuff, man. But
so yeah, Joe Kubert passed away. He was 85. He died on Sunday of what the hell is that word?
Myeloma.
Multiple.
Myeloma. Yeah.
Myeloma. We're not trying to make fun of it. I just don't know how to read the word.
It's okay. Look.
That's why I read comics.
To point, he was very ill.
Yeah.
But he lived a long life, and as far as being in the industry, he was a powerhouse in the sense that he was outlasting.
Oh yeah.
You know, and also his legacy just is still there with his kids, with his school. His school's still going to continue on. That's the power of the Kubert. You know, he's gonna outlast you, no matter what.
Yeah, I was reading the report earlier before we started filming. He was drawing until pretty much a few hours before he passed away. He was in the hospital bed still drawing.
Wow, man.
Yeah. He started, you know, in the 1930s as a teen. Sorry for the distractions. A bunch of fire trucks and ambulance right outside.
Junior, you're wearing a tie for God's sakes. Keep it professional.
I'm sorry.
Keep it professional. Focus on the camera. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well, he co-created Sergeant Rock, like David said, with writer Bill Callinger. Worked on Hawkman. He also created Tor, who was a prehistoric character. Enemy Ace, also with Robert. You know, he was considered one of, like you said, one of the definitive. He was one of an era.
As an artist, one thing I'm really gonna miss about Joe is he didn't always have like the finest lines when he was drawing. Instead, his characters were very expressive. There was a lot of movement in his characters, and that's something that you respect.
Was fluid.
Yeah, and that's one thing you respect as an artist. Like even when you're being taught figure drawing, you're being taught that, you know, if you're gonna draw something like sequential art, you're not drawing statues. Right. There has to be life in them, and that's what he did with all his characters. So that's an immense loss, and I hope anybody that was his student, that's something that they kept within them and that they've embedded in their own style.
Well, yeah, the school was founded in '76 with his wife Muriel, and there was a few, you know, some of the more notable graduates. Amanda Connor.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Mandrake, Rags Morales.
Morales, man.
Yeah.
That's a '90s guy right
there. Truman.
Yeah.
You know, there's quite a bit of graduates, you know, and like you said earlier, his legacy lives on through his children. His 4 sons and his daughter. And of course, everybody knows the 2 sons, Adam and Andy. You know, having worked on mostly Marvel characters most of their career. I mean, they did go over to DC and work on the Justice League, I believe. Batman for a little while. No, Superman as well.
Well, see that, they split up. One was doing Superman, one was doing Batman. But that's just it. That's what I'm talking about. Like the Kubert legacy, it's touched upon everything.
Yeah, pretty much. If the dad didn't do it, one of the kids did it.
Yeah.
I remember when he was on X-Men back in the 90s, right? He took over right after Jim Lee.
Yep.
And at that time, for us being young, you know, we were still learning, okay, there's more to a comic than the characters in the story. There's the creators and all the driving force behind it. So I know it took me a while to realize until you actually pointed it out that it was a different artist. Because right when Jim Lee's last issue was, that's when Andy, was it Andy or Adam? It was Andy, right? Andy took over X-Men.
Yeah, I think so. It was Andy. Which was the better one? Nah, just kidding.
I remember how they look. Like Adam's got the glasses.
Yeah.
Andy's like, looks like he should be playing sports.
Right.
But I remember like Andy's, well, we'll say it was Andy. His work was so close to Jim that I didn't even know there was a different artist on the book until you're like a couple issues later. You're like, oh, did you notice that the art changed?
Yeah, I don't blame you though. I get them mixed up too. I know more because there is that one that draws just as much as Big Kubert did.
Yeah, that's
like you were just talking about how Big Kubert, you know, he drew until like his dying breath. I know there's like a son, because I think a Wizard, when Wizard existed, did a spread on them, and it showed like his little cuts of his sketchbook. There's like all these faces, crowd scenes, and all that, and I was like, wow, that guy's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kubert legacy, lots of love goes out to his family.
Yeah. I'd like to see more from his kids though.
Now you're gonna drive it down at his kids.
No. I don't mean it in a negative
like you're in his shadow,
like,
you punks.
No. I just mean like, but like we said, back in the '90s, they were just like, bam, they were there, and then over the years, they've just kind of, their name has kind of died down. And you're like, oh, they're on the book. Yeah, it didn't really matter. Like right now, Andy is doing AVX. He took over AVX.
Oh yeah.
You know, and somebody.
I was wondering what you were looking at back there.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Yeah, but he's doing the interiors also.
Yeah.
You know, as a lot of. I think we pointed this out on.
It was necessary for that book.
Yeah. I think we pointed this out on an earlier episode. How a lot of artists, back when they start, you know, they have that. They're trying to find their spot. Then there's that work that you're introduced to by them. Like we'll say '90s Jim Lee. We'll say mid '90s Rob Liefeld. You know, we'll say '90s Mark Bagley.
Believe it or not, I was thinking about that.
You know, and then you look at them now, Silvestri especially. Remember we had this discussion?
That's the first thing I thought about as soon as you were pointing out how they're not in it as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's like they say their art style is evolving, but when you look at it, it's just not as tight as it used to be.
A lot of it, you know, it's weird to say in this way, but it could actually be growth. It could actually be that a point in your career where you say, you know, I've done this too much. Okay. What's next for me? I think it's that point. I think people like Silvestri, Rob Liefeld, Kubert, whatever, after they pounded out these characters so many times, it became so repetitive. As an artist in any form, when you do that so repetitively, it gets to that point. It has to be like, okay, what now?
Right.
What else? There has to be something else to this. It could be a passion thing.
Could be. But I mean, when you sit back as a fan,
and
you look at Silvestri '95 versus Silvestri 2005, you're like, eh.
Okay, yeah, but fans, we can't help it because we're so demanding out of what we love and what we want to see on a consistent basis. Like we're just.
I will say though, the one that really, I mean, besides Silvestri, that let me down, I'm still one of his biggest fans, Mark Bagley. When I first really discovered Spider-Man, Eric Larson was drawing it, but he had just took over from McFarlane. But when Bagley jumped on Amazing Spider-Man, the way he drew Spider-Man, he was like so muscular, but he was skinny.
Yeah.
You know, and that was Spider-Man. And like now, if you look at Bagley's Spider-Man, it's not. It's more rounded. It's not. The pencils aren't as sharp. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I still like it, but it doesn't give Spider-Man that definition that he had.
I'm going to look into that. Because that is a huge, that is like very the pinnacle of the 90s where everybody just looks so cut up.
Yeah.
It's like they might as well have been naked.
Right. But like with Spider-Man it worked because he was supposed to be a meek little guy.
Yeah.
You know, so for him to be as skinny as he was, but have that definition in his muscle, that was Spider-Man to me.
Yeah.
You know, and then like with the X-Men it varied. You know, like you kind of expect when Scott had the Jim Lee era with the blue and the Y,
that could be why it's so hard for the 90s illustrators to survive nowadays, because everything, remember when we talked to Angel Medina over in the con, he was talking about how everything is just getting way too real.
Yeah.
Where's that point
that.
where there's room for your imagination to come in and realize that this is fake, and you could just go off into, you know, your daydreams and, you know, just imagine.
How many superheroes nowadays, if you really think about it, are wearing like super tight, swole outfits? You know what I mean?
That's not it anymore. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's still some there that the outfits have been tweaked, like Superman.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it's Superman, so you expect it. Except they drew. He's still muscular, but he's not as big. He's like an average looking guy.
Or even like because his name has to come up in every episode, Rob Liefeld. That was one of his huge
because he
downfalls
secretly
too.
funds this show.
Yeah, yeah. But that's one of his huge downfalls. You look at his stuff in the 90s.
Brisk lemonade, 99 cents at 7-Eleven, paid for by Rob Liefeld.
It would have been awesome if this turned into a claymation cartoon, like the old Brisk commercials. But yeah, I mean, he used to, like, his proportions aren't that great either. They're not. Aside from the fact that he gives everybody the same face, he gives them like tiny heads with like, big chests and all that.
To be fair, so does Alex Ross. Alex Ross draws his women with the same jawline as Superman.
Actually, yeah, he goes a little bit too Amazonian.
Yeah,
a little bit too. He doesn't soften it up.
It's like Wonder Woman looks more feminine than.
But you also get that too. Like when let's say you're trying to draw a muscular woman out of life, you know, get a model for that.
I go to American Gladiators.
But that's just it, man. Those ladies, like, okay, you're a wrestling fan, freaking China. Remember she had to have her chin shaved down.
Yeah. See, I was just gonna say.
It was actually like a pinchback. It's actually more of the skin, how it stretches out.
I was just gonna actually say how we were saying how a lot of the big guys nowadays aren't really so big as far as in terms of body, like Angel was saying, because they're dumbing it down to more realism. A good example with that, like if you had to compare it to wrestling, look who some of the top guys are. They're not big guys like Hulk Hogan or, you know, the really Macho Man, the big swole guys you remember. CM Punk, dude, he's an average guy, and he's like one of the top dogs right now.
You know what I just thought about?
So it kind of translates to that also.
When just recently in comics, not uber recently, but when they were relaunching X Factor, when they brought back Gideon, strong guy.
Yeah.
Didn't he look kind of weird when they brought him back? Only because he was just a tad bit more proportioned than as per early, like what I would call regular strong guy, where he was like super tiny waist and massive shoulders, tiny head with a little stupid curl thing. Oh man,
Guido.
Yeah, I think Gideon's the external, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the green ponytail.
Yeah, treating us some '90s stuff right here, people.
Yeah, remember though when Strong Guy first appeared, he had the jacket, the X Factor jacket.
Yeah.
And he lost it just for the body piece, and now he's just like a big guy.
So yeah,
he's like a mob hitman.
To me, it looked weird him coming back and looking a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to if you had dropped in the '90s Strong Guy, it'd probably look weird to a new reader.
Yeah, they'd be like, "What the hell is this cartoony crap?"
Damn, man, what's going on?
Times are changing.
It is a changing.
The question is, when is it? You know how like now with society, everything retro is like in style now. You know?
Oh yeah, but that's.
When is that going to happen to comics? When are we going to bring back the old school? When are we bringing back our cover price hologram covers?
I could see it coming back. Actually, it just popped into my head. One of the highlights for me at the Comic-Con was Jeff Balke. He had that chromium.
Yeah.
He had that chromium. He had an illustration on his table that was chromed out. And I was like, whoa! I even yelled that was a chromium cover.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah.
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 We
you just had a moment there where I'm so damn old.
Yeah, that's
we
kind of steered away.
Sound like an old blues guy.
Yeah. We went from Kubert to that's what it was, because we were talking about Joe Kubert, and then we talked about his sons, and then his transition to the X-Men, and then all the other artists, and then from there just
it all still ties in. I mean,
I agree. But it's nice to come back full circle and know why we drifted into this conversation.
Because you got to give props to Joe Kubert, because his style, as it was, he never changed it. It lasted well on through. Sergeant Rock was still fighting in World War II, way into the MTV era.
Oh yeah. Oh, he just did a variant cover to Winter Soldier #1, 8 issues ago.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And if you look at it, but it's like that's.
Yeah, hell yeah. You know it, and besides the autograph, besides the signature and the drawing.
So do artists from our, I guess the '90s, our era of comics, should they be compromising so much?
No.
Should they? I mean, honestly, does every comic book have to be outfitted so it could look like it's gonna be a movie or a made-for-TV show?
No, but you know what? I don't think that's the artist. I think it's the writer saying, "This is what we want," and you know, this is not a low blow to any writers out there. But I think that when a writer goes into writing a particular story arc nowadays, they kind of go into it with that thought in the back of their mind. Well, if this is turned into a screenplay or something, you know, how would I see it?
You probably have to even go a step further. I don't think it's the writer or the artist. It's all. You sit down. There's a creative meeting, and the art directors, the people in charge, the marketing departments, they have to say, this is what we want to sell.
Okay, so at what point was it okay for Marvel and at one point DC to say, hey, let's make all our characters apes for a month? Remember that?
Oh yeah, and then the vampire thing.
Yeah, and the vampire thing.
Yeah, man, that's just jumping on bandwagons.
Especially the ape thing. At least DC didn't do the whole vampire thing.
Yeah.
With all their variant covers. Marvel did.
What was the deal with that?
It's just the hype, all the vampire crap at the moment. That's
Yeah.
Twilight, you know. But I will say this: vampires are not supposed to be sparkly. I rest my case.
Thank you.
Moving on. Well, rest in peace, Joe Kubert. You will be missed. Okay, now moving on. The release date has been set for Avengers 2. Yeah.
What is it?
May 1st, 2015.
We could do it. Si se puede.
It'll be here before you know it, dude. Christmas will be here in like a week.
Yeah.
You know,
last night you had to finally watch Thor.
Really?
Yeah, and she liked it. Yeah. So there you go. That just goes to show where Marvel's taking these.
So how much beer did she have?
None. She was perfectly conscious.
What'd you promise her?
Nothing. I was editing a video, and she just said, "Hey, I've been meaning to watch this." Literally, it was on the Netflix queue. She's like, "I've been meaning to watch it," and she watched it.
Have you checked your bank account?
Well, the reason that Junior's this is expression. Let me explain this expression. Yahaira's not a comic book person. She's not at all. She's total opposite. Okay.
So you gotta wonder why she's with him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm funny. I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, so yeah.
I like my tie.
So as long as Marvel keeps them rolling like that, I think they'll be fine for a long time. Did they come with a yeah?
You're a funny person, David.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, what were you saying? Did they come out with a what?
Did they explain the whole Thanos thing, or they just announced the date?
No, they just said they haven't even announced, like, you know, how lately stuff hasn't been like, you know, having a number as part of the title. It's more like with the Captain America. It's not Captain America 2. It's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and you know, so they're hoping that Marvel announces something soon, so they don't have to call it Marvel's the Avengers 2. You know,
I like that because it actually does take off the stress from following up a sequel. Instead, if stuff goes down and they do have to change up the creative team, this is just another story to add on to the series.
They could call it Avengers 2.
There you go.
Part 2. Yeah.
Actually, that opens up the doors to anything. Really, why do all these movies have to tie in?
It's like we said, dude. Ultron in the Ant-Man movie, Thanos in the Guardians. Fox got Fox got the right, or not Fox. Yeah, Fox ended up losing the rights to Daredevil.
Really?
Remember?
They were trying to save him. Didn't they?
They were trying to save him. They had till, I believe it was September of October 10th, one of the two, to produce something for Daredevil. And they were trying to get longer time with Marvel, and in doing so, the negotiation was Marvel goes, give us Galactus and Silver Surfer back, because, you know, they're tied into the FF, and Fox has the rights to FF.
Oh, yeah.
So like, let us get our cosmic guys, and you can have your longer date for Daredevil. But I guess negotiations fell through, and then there was parts where they were saying that was actually a rumor, and there was never negotiation. But either way, before the date, Daredevil has already reverted back to Marvel and Disney.
You know what?
Which means would be badass in one of these upcoming Marvel movies. Oh, all of a sudden somebody goes to court and they need a lawyer. Look, it's Matt Murdock.
Yep, cameos, man.
There you go.
Cameos.
That's what it's about.
It really would explain if down the pipeline they start changing up dates for a lot of these things, because they're like, oh, we're doing this Guardians movie, but now We could have Silver Surfer or
and do a
Galactus.
Thanos Part 2. The latest scene where Odin is walking through. You remember, like in the first movie, and they have all the things in his trophy room. They had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you got Daredevil's Billy Club for some reason.
Yep. There you go.
You can do that.
And
where Daredevil goes
in Asgard for some reason.
Where Daredevil goes, Kevin Smith goes.
So you're saying, why? Wait, why?
I don't know. I associate Kevin Smith with Daredevil because of the Guardian Devil.
This is why we need a good Daredevil movie.
And he's such a big Daredevil fan.
Yeah.
You know, him and Ben Affleck. I give Ben Affleck credit. He's a great fan. Speaking of Ben Affleck, please, one of the other rumors that was going around, Warner Brothers is trying super hard to get Ben Affleck signed on as director of the Justice League.
Director?
Yes, director. Because The Town was that good.
What?
Yep.
What does The Town have to do with the JLA?
Ben Affleck directed The Town and starred in it.
Yeah, I know, but it's like...
it was that good.
Wait,
that
no,
Warner
I'm talking
Brothers
about
is like,
creative-
oh my god, let's give him the Justice League movie.
I'm talking about creative direction-wise.
I'm not Warner Brothers. Remember, this is the company that fired Joss Whedon, who just made over $200
One of the most
million
amazing movies
for Marvel
in the world.
You know.
Wow.
So right now, with Warner Brothers, I don't know what the hell.
Something in the higher ups happened in DC. Something happened there. Someone died, and some
you know what?
unprivileged child is
more,
now running the show there.
I wouldn't even say it's DC.
Yeah. But basically that's why, you know, in their eyes, DC probably doesn't have to worry about their movies. Arrow's gonna come out.
Yeah, but see, talking about Arrow as a show, one of the things that Marvel was saying that they want to do with Daredevil is not put him back on the big screen. They actually wanted to make him into a TV show, and because they have all the successful shows. I mean, think about how Daredevil as a lawyer and the crime, like compared to like CSI and all that other stuff.
Law and Order and all that stuff. Okay, I could see that.
You know,
if they bring him down like that and not to get because the movie, those effects were getting really stupid. They were actually. It would have been a lot more interesting to see it more from the lawyer's perspective. Because I'm a big fan of Criminal Minds and Law and Order and stuff, and people get just as nerdy about that stuff. And
Smallville proved, the Hulk with Bill Bixby proved, you know, all these shows can work with the human version of the character on screen 90% of the time, as opposed to...
It's relatable. It's much more relatable. And when it comes down to it, as far as the studio concerned, it's going to make them more money. Net, you know.
Yeah. And then to finish off this episode, dealing with film and everything else, the rumored plot for Guardians of the Galaxy is online, and the rumored plot goes like this: it's about a U.S. pilot who ends up in space in the middle of a universal conflict and goes on the run with the futuristic ex-cons who have something everyone wants.
So this is not about Green Lantern, and it's not about Adam Strange. Somehow this is about Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's what it sounds like when you read it off. It sounds like Adam Strange or a Green Lantern movie. If anything, it probably sounds like what Green Lantern should have been. It does sound like that.
But see, the big
if
things
anything,
are...
it's kind of like Marvel just shitting on DC's face. Because we can write a better Green Lantern and not put a Green Lantern in it.
But the big things is the U.S. pilot. Everybody, if you're going canon with Guardians, it's supposed to be Star-Lord.
Right.
But they're saying they might make it Carol Danvers.
Okay.
Who becomes Miss Marvel because of the Kree. Now imagine bringing the Kree and the Skrull conflict in to the whole cosmic thing. Which
is possible. We just had an alien invasion per Avengers.
You know, that'll just go into a whole other direction.
Yeah.
And the something that everyone wants right now, the biggest one out there is either the Infinity Gauntlet itself as a whole or one of the Infinity Gems.
Which could lead back into Asgard. So as you said, in their storage room, they have the Infinity Gauntlet. They have the Tesseract.
In their storage room.
It's a storage room with the giant destroyer in it. Yeah. But they have the Tesseract and they have the Infinity Gauntlet in there.
That irritates me. Why do they call it the Tesseract? Why don't they call it what it is? The fucking Cosmic Cube.
Probably just to make it sound more fancy. Because when you think about it, okay, like a much more advanced...
Anything Sam Jackson says is fancy anyway, whether he's cursing or not.
You got to think about it. An alien race thought about this name.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You kind of just.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
What would you call it? Fucking cosmic cube.
Sounds too human.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. Tesseract.
Tesseract.
Oh, that's better.
What does that mean? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That's what it is. All
Say
right,
in
let's go
Spanish.
for it. Yeah.
Sounds fancy. El Tesseract. There you go.
Sophisticated. Dude.
There you go.
That does it for.
That does it for episode 16. Thank you everybody for watching.
16-1. Make that
Good
clear.
night.
We'll be back.